course, myself, JB, sitting right next to me, Jerry Brooks, half of the Twin 20s. Other side of him, it would be Dougie Zupan, Zoopy down here, who will be handling the scoreboard and our system scoring down here with these two. And, of course, race director all the way at the other end of the booth, that is John Tiff. Now, he was sitting next to me earlier. Now he's moved all the way down the other end of the booth. I must have scared him or something. Not sure what's going on there. Sportsman cars making their way out onto the racing surface right now, and this is the way they are going to go. Don't start with me. Starting inside, row number one, the number 117, that is C.J. Castelletti. On the outside, Brian Thomas in the number 7X. The 44C starting inside of row number 2, that is Steve Denton. Outside him, driving the number 10 machine, that is Jim Nagel. The 32B is Jeremy Bunk. He'll start inside row number 3. On the outside of him will be the Matt Janzik, number 33X. The number 97 machine will come out as they do come to the stripe side by side. Jimmy Nagel's going to jump to the outside of the speedway. He'll look to take over the early lead. Down the backstretch, he will go. Castelletti hung out to dry right in the middle of the racetrack. Matt Janzik goes to the high side. He'll drive right by him as they go into turn number 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, they will go. Nagel, your leader. Janzik holding on the number 2 spot. The 32B, Jeremy Bunk, now settles into that third position. Timmy Nye goes to the top side of the racetrack, drives down the hill over turn number 2. He'll take over the number 4 position as they dance down the backstretch for the very first time. Down into turn number 3 and 4. Chantel goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Randy Chantel lets it slide up to the middle of the speedway, holding on to that fifth spot as they work off the west end of the track down the backstretch. Little contact between himself and Brian Dent. Dent will take the spot away. He'll shoot right up the middle of the speedway. He'll go by the number 117 of Castelletti as they go down into turn number 3 and 4. Cross flags coming out from Matt Burdick as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch they will go. Jim Nagel right in front of Matt Janzik, number 33. Janzik now turns to the bottom of turn number 1 and 2. Follow on the car as he exits turn number 2. Nagel able to open up a 2-car advantage down the backstretch, with Jeremy Bunk chasing that battle into turn number 3 and 4. Parallel sticks coming out from Matt Burdick. We are 2 laps away when they come to the straight. Nagel continuing to show the way. Jeremy Bunk now 5 car lengths back from that lead battle right through the middle of the racetrack, and Timmy Nye now settles into the number 4 spot in the 80 machine. He'll work right through the middle of the racetrack, midway down the backstretch off turn number 2, with Denton chasing him to 3 and 4. White flag is going to wave as they come charging down the front stretch. Jim Nagel continuing to point them in the right direction as he works down into turn number 2, right in the middle of the racetrack. Janzik looks down to the inside. Nagel started outside of row number 2. Janzik right behind him, and they have made their way up to the front of the field. Checkered flag will be coming out. Your first qualifying heat of the evening. Jimmy Nagel's going to score the win. Matt Janzik will be second. Jeremy Bunk holding on to the number 3 spot. He'll be followed by Timmy Nye. Steve Denton holding on in the 44. Randy Chantel chases him. C.J. Castelletti rounding a 45 machine. That is Chris McCoy. He'll be outside row number 1. Row number 2 to the inside. Carney in number 80, Claude Hutchings, the 84 JR, the 31K, or 31X is Toby Klisch. Robert Barker in the BA1 and the 79. Rocky Warner in the number 79, rounding out the field. They'll work down the back. There's Claude Hutchings Jr. very quickly takes number 84 out to the front of the field. He'll lead them down into turn number 3 and 4. This time when they come to the stripe, it'll be Hutchins down the front stretch. Keith Carney settling in the number 2 spot. As they come down in front, he's got company right now to the outside of the speedway. Rocky Warner right into that mix now as they go to turn number 2 off the top of the speedway. They'll charge down the backstretch. They'll be followed by Bobby Hines in the 180, Toby Klisch in the 31X, John DeForest in the 318. and Chris McCoy in the number 45. Claude Hutchings back to the line, opening up a sizable margin as they come to the halfway point, down into turn number 1 and 2. Off turn number 2, they will dance. Good battle now, shaping up for the number 3 spot. Keith Carney holding on to it. Rocky Warner right there with Bobby Hines as they continue that battle. Hines will take the spot away from Rocky Warner now as they swing into turn number 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, they will go parallel flags route as they come charging down into turn number 1 and 2. Keith Carney all the way up the racetrack. Rocky Warner driving underneath the number 180 of Bobby Hines. He'll take over the number 3 spot as they charge down the backstretch. White flag is out. Claude Hutchins Jr. just driving off the top of the speedway down the front stretch. The tired iron rides. It will lead them all the way into turn number 1 and 2. Almost a half a straightaway advantage, or half a lap advantage, I should say, over Keith Carney. Rocky Warner chasing him. Then it'll be Bobby Hines behind him as they go into turn number 2 for the final time. Off turn number 4, checkered flag is out. Claude Hutchins Jr. is going to score the win. Battle for the number 2 spot, charging down the front stretch. Keith Carney will take it. Rocky Warner finishes third. Fourth will be Bobby Hines in fifth position. Will belong to the number 31X of Toby Klisch. He'll be followed by John DeForest in the 3-8 is Chris Mackey. A.J. Philbeck, day 1 will be inside row number 3. On the outside of him, it'll be Steve Way. In the number 27X is Jeff Leslie. In the 244, green flag is out. Again, 6 laps is the distance. 5 cars will qualify. They work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Jack Miller, the 37-8, jumps out to the early advantage. He'll take him down into turn number 3 and 4. Off turn number 4, down the front stretch. They will come for the very first time. Miller showing the way, followed by the Zero Machine of Styles as they go down into turn number 1, 2. Chris Mackey looking right at the back bumper now of the Styles Machine as they work down into turn number 3 and 4. Steve Way turns up the wick in the Apple Betty's number 27. He'll go to the outside of the racetrack, turn number 3 and 4. He'll look outside to Chris Mackey. Mackey with a little bit of a bobble now as he gets underneath the Chris Styles. Mike Styles, the Zero Machine, as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. Out of turn number 4, down the front stretch, cross flag route, we're going to be halfway home. It'll be Jack Miller continuing still away, Chris Mackey and Steve Way in the second and third spot. Styles holding on to that next position as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they are using the back stretch, they will go. Craig Bogues, number 42C, trying to hold off A.J. Philbeck. They're side by side through turn number 3. Off turn number 4, parallel sticks her up as we come to the line. And the lineup stays just the way it is. A.J. Philbeck right now, Craig Bogues. Good side by side battle for that number 5 spot. As they work off turn number 2 down the back stretch, they will go. Pope holding on to half a car advantage in the number 4 position over A.J. Philbeck. Philbeck goes to the bottom of the racetrack. They'll work into turn number 3 and 4. Matt Burdick's white flag is waving as they come off turn number 4 down to the inside. That battle continues for the number 5 spot. Side by side, they will continue to battle. Craig Pope all the way to the top side of the racetrack. A.J. Philbeck slides underneath them. Philbeck may have an advantage this time as he'll take the spot away. Checkered flag will be waving off turn number 4. Jack Miller is going to score the win. In heat number 3, Chris Mackey will be third. Steve Way will hold on to the number 4 position, or 3 position. He'll be followed by the 0 of Mike Styles, the 1 of A.J. Philbeck, Craig Pope, the 42, and the 244 of Jeff Leslie. Holsizer outside him, the 18J of Jimmy Davis. Ronnie Johnson's 2RJ sits inside row number 3. Outside him, driver the number 10J, it's A.J. Slideways, Alan Johnson. Alan Barker's number B60 and Willie Stewart Reeves, 1W inside row number 4. Row number 5, it is 00 of Bobby Baird and the 1X of Joe Slaviak. Joe Slaviak in the 1X team as they work off turn number 2. Down the back just for the very first time. Off turn number 3 and 4. Down the line to score lap number 1. Casey Williams reverses the asphalt for 1X. He'll jump out to the early lead. Down to the turn 1 2. Jimmy Davis works inside of him. Davis as they work off turn number 2. The 18JD goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Alan Johnson drives all the way up to the number 3 spot. The 1WCC, that is Stuart Friesen. Friesen just threaded the needle to the outside of the racetrack. He'll take over the number 5 spot as we work off turn number 4. Now down the front stretch, jumps up to the number 4 spot. He'll look to the back now. All the Alan Johnson as they go into turn number 1 and 2. Ronnie Johnson to the inside of Alan Barker off turn number 2. That's the battle for number 6 position as they work down the back stretch into turn number 3 and 4. Back up front, Casey Williams, your early leader. He's got his hands full right now. Jimmy Davis, 18JD down the bottom of the racetrack. Williams right in the middle of the speedway. A little bit of a bobble on Jimmy Davis's 18 JD, but he'll hold on to the lead down the backstretch. Down into turn number 3 and 4. Cross flag coming out from Matt Burdick in this 8-lap modified heat number 1. Down the front stretch, they will battle with Jimmy Davis, the turning stones number 18. Holding on to the lead position. Casey Williams selling back to number 2 spot. Battle for that third position. And Stuart Friesen drove to the outside of the speedway in the Westmoreland Golf Club number 1 to XWCC. He'll take over the number 3 spot. Alan Johnson settles back to the 4th position in the number 10. The commercial roofing ride as they work off turn number 4. Contact between Barker and Alan Johnson. Alan Barker tried to stick to the outside. Alan Johnson right down to the bottom now as they work off turn number 2. Ronnie Johnson to the 2 RJ holding on to the next spot. Just outside the top 5 as he's watching Alan Johnson and Barker run side by side. He'd like to split up that Al battle as he comes down to turn number 1 and 2 with the parallel flags out. Just 2 more trips around the speedway. Bobby Barron back with us once again. The Dover breaking the D-0. C-double charging down the back out of Sharon Springs. Outside looking in right now as 6 cars will qualify. White flag is out. Back up front, Jimmy Davis takes him off turn number 2. It'll be the number 1 of Casey Williams continue to hold on to the number 2 spot. With Stuart Friesen chasing him. They work off the west end of the speedway. Checkered flag is out. As they come down the front stretch, Jimmy Davis going to score the win. It'll be Casey Williams holding on to the number 2 spot. Third belongs to the 1WCC of Stuart Friesen. Alan Barker will finish in the number 5 spot. Ronnie Johnson races his way up into the top 5. He'll be followed by Alan Johnson, Bobby Barron, and Steve Hodell. Lightning Larry White to the inside of row number 3. Outside of him will be the 89B of Todd Burley. The 42 of Pat Ward will sit inside row number 5. Outside him will be Billy Trexler into the number 1B. Green flag is in the air. They come charging down the front stretch. Shannon Whaley right in the middle of the racetrack. Aaron Jacobs up the hill to the top of turn number 2. Rocket Ryan helps to his right underneath him. He'll take over the number 2 spot as they head down the backstretch. Turn number 3 and 4. Larry White goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Chris Busta looks right between him and Whaley as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will dance. Whaley all the way to the outside, continuing to hold that spot, but now he's got company. As Ryan Phelps works underneath him, Whaley will take him down the back. Phelps settled into the number 2 spot. Larry White chasing him. Todd Burley now shoves the nose underneath the 42P of Pat Ward as they go side by side into 3 and 4. Ward's going to hold the advantage as they exit the turn. Burley down to the bottom of there. Jacobs goes back by on the outside of the pizza log number 89. Billy Trexler looking right at the back of Burley's right as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will dance. Danny Humes in the Zero Machine holding on the next spot, followed by Chris Busta. They work off turn number 3 and 4. Good battle, saving up one more time at the front of the field. Shannon Whaley comes up the hill, turn number 1 and 2, tries to square it off right to the middle of the turn. Rocket Ryan Phelps is going to take advantage of number 99. Takes over that lead down into turn number 3 and 4. And now here comes Lightning Larry White, the 99L, down to the extreme bottom of the racetrack. He'll pedal off the bottom of turn number 4, slides it up underneath Shannon Whaley, number 44, as they go into turn number 2. And Larry White will drive off the bottom of turn number 2, may have the advantage this time, and he will take over the number 2 spot. So Shannon Whaley, your pole sitter, back to the number 4 position, or 3 position, as they work off turn 4. Down the front stretch, they will come. The distance press number 42, the Dylan Giant of Pat Ward, all the way up to that number 4 spot. He'll look underneath Whaley. Whaley continuing to run that same line. Everybody getting under him as they work off turn number 2. So Ward will take over the 4 spot as they head into turn number 3, takes over the 3rd spot off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will come. Whaley trying to hold off now. A hard charge to Todd Burley. The Tornado goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll put the nose underneath, but Shannon Whaley dropped down a groove lower this time, able to drive off the turn a little bit harder. He'll hold on to the number 5 position as they work into turn 3 and 4. White flag is waving. Ryan Phelps brings him to the strike. Number 99L of Larry White chasing him. Pat Ward right behind him. 3 cars into turn number 1 and 2. Down the Tornado. Todd Burley will take over the 4 spot as they exit turn number 2. Down the backstretch they will go. Into turn number 3 and 4. Whaley settling back one more spot. Checkered flag is out as they work off turn number 4. It'll be number 99 of Ryan Phelps. He's going to score the win in front of Lightning Larry White in the number 99L. Pat Ward finishing in the number 3 spot. 4th belongs to the number 89B of Todd Burley. He'll be followed by Shannon Whaley. Billy Trexler just outside the top 5 in the 1B. Matt Shepard in the number 9S. To his outside, that'll be Todd Thomas in the number 60. The number 15 of Phil Burkhart sits inside row number 4. His dancing partner to the outside will be Danny Varon in the number 93. And the 816 is Jeff Rockefeller. He'll go shotgun on the field. And they work on turn number 4. Down to turn number 1 and 2, and Jason Rude in a hurry just jumped out to the front of the field. He'll take him charging down the backstretch, but Adam Roberts getting ready to settle into the number 2 spot in the number 63. Roberts comes down to the bottom of the racetrack, Rude to the outside. Roberts gets up behind him, takes him charging down the front stretch into turn number 1 and 2. White Mahaney now lets it drift to the top side of turn number 2. Matt Shepard taking a look at the inside of Mahaney as they'll work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will battle side by side. Adam Roberts trying to hold on to the number 2 spot. A couple of quick cars right behind him. And now coming into that mix will be the Magna Rush number 93 of Danny Varon. Varon looking right down to the bottom. He's just going to drive underneath White Mahaney's number 4. Slides up the racetrack in front of him. He'll take away the number 4 spot as they work off turn number 2. Mahaney back into the number 5 position as they work turn number 3, now to turn number 4. It'll be Jason Root continuing to show the way. Matt Shepard will now take over the number 2 spot in the FX Cabrera. Number 9, that's Steven Silver down to turn number 1. Off turn number 2, Robert Kettle into the number 3 spot as they go charging down the back to Danny Varon joining that battle now. Varon goes to the outside of the racetrack. Matt Burdick's got cross flags up. We're going to be halfway home at the stripe. Down the front, that drag race to turn number 1 and 2. Jason Root just slammed the door shut on Matt Shepard. Shepard had nothing to do with it. They're wheel to wheel off turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Root drives into turn number 3 a little bit harder, but he's got the number 9S of Matt Shepard right there with him. Shepard will drive off turn number 4 again. They drag race to the stripe. That time at the line, Matt Shepard with a nostril out in front as they come into turn number 2. Danny Varon will take away the number 3 spot from Adam Roberts as they head down the back. That's Mike Mahaney rounding out the top 5. Back down to turn number 3 and 4. Jason Root trying to make the car stick to the bottom. Can't get it done. Matt Shepard slide job said they squeeze me and goes to the front of the field. Shepard up the hill, turn number 2. That's going to put Jason Root down the inside. They're side by side again and again as Jason Root will slide the nose out to the front of the speedway. He'll take the lead. Now he brings it down to the bottom. Squares it off turn number 3 and 4. This time Root makes a stick down to the bottom. He's going to make Shepard go by on the high side as they work down to turn number 1 and 2. White flag is waving in a great battle shaping up here in this third and final qualifying game. Jason Root, the Turning Stone Casinos Venom Sports Drink number 18J off turn number 4. He lets it drift to the outside. Here comes Matt Shepard one more time. Jason Root going to score the win, number 18J. Matt Shepard will come home second. Danny Varon finishes the number 3 spot. He'll be followed by the 63 of Adam Roberts. Mike Mahaney will round out the top 4 cars. He'll be following out onto the speedway. The 110 of Dana Kamengo will be inside row number 1. Outside him, driving the number 88, that is Eddie Ostrander. Row number 2 to the inside, the number 50, that is Chris Carr. Outside of him will be the number 15 of Sean Frost. Row number 3 will be the 17C. 17E of Mark Effner. Inside row number 3, outside him the 7C of Glenn Forward. The 27Z of Brett Tardy inside row number 4. Outside him is the number 2 machine. That's Pete Stefanski. The 55 machine belongs to one car off the top of the racing service. That is the 15 of Shaman. Green flag comes back out onto the racing service off from turn number 4. Eddie Ostrander right out to the front of the field. Chris Mackey, as they work into turn number 3 and 4. Chris Carr works to the outside of the speedway. He'll look to the outside of Eddie Ostrander as they go down into turn number 3 and 4. Glenn Forward's number 7C looking into the inside now. He'll come right up the middle of the racetrack off turn number 4 down the front stretch. They will battle. Mark Effner working to the bottom of the racetrack. Pete Stefanski outside of him. 5-car battle right at the front of the field. Here comes Sean Frost back up through the field in the number 15 as they work off turn number 2. Parallel stick coming out from Matt that verdict as they come to the strike. Just 2 more trips around the speedway. Good battle out in front. Chris Carr to the top side. Eddie O down to the bottom as they'll continue to battle side by side. Off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will go. The 7C of Glenn forward right in the middle of the mix now as he'll look to the outside. Pete Stefanski switches lanes. He'll come down to the bottom of turn number 3. Now he lets it drift out in turn number 4. He'll go to the outside mark after chasing him with Sean Frost, the next car in line as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. Chris Carr looking to take that advantage. Looking at 3 wide battle off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Chris Carr, now your lead of the 7C of Glenn forward. Here comes Eddie O right back to the bottom. Eddie O trying to make it work. Oh, contact. All 3 leaders get together as the number 7C of Glenn forward got into the back of Chris Carr, slowed down, and Eddie Ostrander got into him, so Chris Carr is going to score the win. Eddie O looks like he's going to come home in the number 2 spot. Sean Frost will finish in the number 3 position. Inside of row number 2 will be Jeff Pastorella, and outside him, Dwight Johnson in the number 40. Billy Nass, number 21, and Jim Normile, 7N, make up row number 3. Tommy the Toad Denton, the number 20, or the 94, the 22 of Andy LaSure, make up row number 4. Row number 5 is the number 24 of Dan LaSure. Down into turn number 3 and 4 for the very first time, and Bresky lets it hang high, wide, and handsome to the outside of the speedway. So Keith Brazel's number 81 out to the front of the field. He'll work off turn number 2. Good battle down the backstretch as they exit the turn. Into turn number 3 and 4, Jim Money trying to hold on to that second spot. He'll go to the top side of the racetrack as Brett Belden leads him down the front stretch. He's got company down to the inside. The 25 of Jeff Pastorella driving up underneath him as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. Jimmy Normile hung to the outside of the speedway in the 7N. He holds on to it as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. Billy Knapp working underneath him. Tommy the Toad Denton, the next car in line. Denton trying to square it off, shoves it right up through the middle. We got a 3-way battle for the number 5 spot as they work off turn number 2. Looking at the back of Jim Money's number 11X. Money up the hill right now in turn number 2. That's going to open the door for Jim Normoyle to stick his nose underneath them. Here comes the 94 of Tommy Dent. He'll look to the bottom of the racetrack. Meanwhile, up front, the number 81 of Bretsky, Brett Belden, pulling away from the field. He'll work off turn number 4 down the front stretch. Continuing to go the way as the white flag waves. Jeff Pastorella right now holding on to the number 2 spot. He's got company. Jim Money looks at his back bumper as they go into turn number 3 and 4. Tommy Dent had a nose up on it, had to think better than Jim Normoyle. He's the meat in the sandwich right now, middle of the speedway, turn number 3 and 4. He gets together with Tommy Dent, and they both go around. Tommy Dent keeps going. Checker flag is out. Brett Belden's going to score the win. Jeff Pastorella finishes the number 2 spot. He'll be followed by the 11X of Jim Money's Bill Knapp holding on to the number 4 spot. He'll be followed by Dwight Johnson in the number 40. 24 of LaSure will hold on the next spot, followed by Tommy Denton. And a wild affair there. Jimmy Normoyle around on that last lap. Well, the pure stocks. 71 of Brian Owens will be inside row number 1. Outside him will be Frank Hyatt in the 14H. The number 11 of Chris Watkins sits inside number 2. Rob Seni's number 255 will be outside of him. Number 5 of Ricky Bree sits inside row number 3. Outside of Scott Wheelock in the number 84. The 00 machine. And we got a wheel coming off one of the vehicles over in turn number 2. Brandon Green in the 00, the 14 of Ron Hawker, and the 54 of Scott Springer. And the caution flag will wave as we come to complete lap number 1. They work off turn number 3 and 4. Green flag will be in the air one more time. They come charging down the front stretch, out in front of the field. It'll be Brian Owens, number 71, right in the middle of the speedway. He's got company right now as they work into turn number 2. 3 wide front of the field. Rob Beamy just drove around the outside in the 255. He will take over the lead out in front of the field. Chris Watkins right there with him. Watkins comes down to the bottom. Beamy all the way to the outside of the racetrack. They work off turn number 4 down the front stretch. They will go. Number 84 machine working his way up through. That is Scott Wheelock. Wheelock all the way up to number 3 spot now as he'll chase Beamy. And Chris Watkins out of turn number 2 down the backstretch. Ricky Breeds, number 5, will now drive up all the way into the number 4 position, but here comes the 14 of Ron Hawker. Hawker down to the inside of the racetrack. He'll drive to the inside as they work off turn number 4 down the front stretch. They will go parallel. 6 are up as they come charging down the front stretch. Hawker trying to hold on to that position. In that number 14, Frank Hyatt chasing him. He'll go to the outside of the speedway in turn number 2. Then it'll be a distance back to Scott Springer in the number 54. White flag is waving as they work off turn number 4. Rob Beamy showing his way around the speedway, continuing to show the quick way around. He'll take him down into turn number 1 and 2. Beamy right in the middle of the racetrack, lets it drift out against the cushion off turn number 2 down the backstretch. He will go with the number 11 of Chris Watkins chasing him. Watkins trying to close that gap. They'll go to turn number 3 and 4. Down the inside of the speedway. Off turn number 4, checkered flag is out. Rob Beamy's going to score the win. Chris Watkins will hold on to the number 2 spot. Scott Wheelock finishes in the number 3 position, just in front of Ron Hawker's number 14, Ricky Breed chasing him. Frank Hyatt will be behind him when they came to the line, Jerry. Second and final qualifying heat and our final qualifying event of the evening. Off turn number 3 and 4, they will go. Green flag from Matt Burdick in the air. Down the front stretch, they will go. The 140 of the Junkyard Jet, Jimmy Thomas to the outside. Andy Sevchek to the bottom, side by side. They'll work off turn number 2. Down the back stretch, they will go. Chris Cunningham's number 29K, holding on to the number 3 spot. Cunningham right in the middle of the racetrack, works off turn number 3, now to turn number 4. He'll drive down the hill. Phil Mason looking at his back bumper. Now Mason goes up the hill off turn number 2. Kozlowski is holding on to the number 5 spot. In the number 75, he'll look to the bottom of the racetrack. Dave Bruno, he's going to find room to run right up the middle. Not much room there, but he'll take advantage of it. And Dave Bruno is going to race to the top 5. Into turn number 3 and 4, they will go, and Chris Cunningham takes that beautiful number 29K down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll come side by side with Andy Sevchek as they come to the line. It will be Sevchek holding on to that lead advantage. Cunningham in the number 2 spot. Dave Bruno now puts the number 21 underneath Bill Mason's 57 machine. They work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will go. Jimmy Thomas rounding out the top 5, watching that battle in front of him as they go to turn number 3 and 4. Cunningham now finds his way out to the lead all by his lonesome. He will charge down the front stretch. Sevchek trying to hold off Dave Bruno. Sevchek up the hill right behind Chris Cunningham. Bruno goes down to the extreme bottom off turn number 2. Now he lets it drift up a couple of grooves off turn number 2. He'll get back in line behind Andy Sevchek as they charge down the backstretch. Phil Mason watching that battle unfold in front of him as they swing into turn number 3 and 4. Off 4, they come charging down the front stretch. Into turn number 2, down the backstretch, they will dance again. Cunningham trying to strengthen that lead out in front of Dave Bruno. Andy Sevchek holding off Mason as they come to the line. Checkered flag is out as they swing off turn number 4, down the front stretch. Chris Cunningham's going to score the win. Dave Bruno's going to finish the number 2 spot. He'll be followed by Andy Sevchek. Phil Mason holding on to the number 4 spot. Sits inside row number 8. On the outside will be Randy Chantel in the number 97. The BA1 of Robert Barker will sit inside row number 10. Outside him, the 42C is Craig Pope. PJ Castelletti's number 117 and Chris McCoy, the 45, make up row number 11. Row number 12 will be the 244 of Jeff Leslie and the 7X of Brian Thomas. Track safety lights are off. First feature of the evening. Up turn number 4. Matt Burdick's going to turn the ponies loose, and we go racing off 4. Down Down into turn number 1 and 2, drag race off the east end of the speedway. Down into turn number 1 and 2, good one, out in front of the field. They swing off turn number 4 for the very first time, down to the bottom of the racetrack. Hines down to the bottom. There goes the zero machine. Blake Styles still switch lanes down into turn 1 and 2. Hines goes to the outside. Styles down to the bottom. Now he's got company. They work off turn number 2 down the backstretch into turn number 3 and 4. They charge into turn number 3 and 4. This time it will be Jack Miller, the next car in line. Steve Denton chasing him in as they work off turn number 4 down the front. The table goes Chris Mack right there in the middle of the mix. You got the number 10 machine of Jim Nagel. Nagel down to the bottom of the racetrack. Mackey squares to the inside of Mike Styles. Side by side, they'll battle the number 2 spot into turn number 3 and 4. Side by side, they will continue to go through turn number 3. Now to turn number 4, charging down the front stretch. It will be the number 180 between the Bobby Hines going away. Chris Mackey now charged up the number 2 spot. Mike Styles settles in third. Jim Nagel down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's side by side with Jack Miller as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will go. Miller down the outside of the speedway. He'll swing down into turn number 3 and 4. Jeremy Funk on the move. He'll take the 32B to the bottom of the racetrack. Right now, Jeremy Funk on a mission. The American Racing number 32 runs down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll look under Jack Miller over in turn 2. He'll take the number 4 spot away. Down the backstretch, he will go. Jeremy Funk jumps on the front of Miller. Jim Nagel in a battle right now, trying to hold off Matt Janzik. They'll swing through turn number 4. Janzik down to the bottom. Nagel to the top side. Side by side, here comes Vaughn Hudson Jr. He'll add his name in the mix. A.J. Philbeck to the outside. Now we got a battle at the front of the field. Chris Mackey down to the bottom of the racetrack. Bobby Hines to the outside. Side by side, these two are going to battle into the west end of the racetrack. Chris Mackey has a line at the inside. Off turn number 4, they will go charging down the front stretch. Good side-by-side battle for the number 3 spot. Jeremy Funk down to the inside, the zero machine of Mike Styles to the outside. Caution is out on the speedway as the field works down to turn number 3 and 4. Yellow flag is going to wave one car around sideways over into turn number 2, and that is going to be the reason. Well, Matt Burdick back down trackside along with Tommy Netto back up to the office on top of the stairs, and Matt down on the track is going to show the field the white flag. So next time around, we're going to go back to racing action here at Utica Rome. Dick Waterman night here at the Speedway. Thanks to Dick for sponsoring our racing action here tonight. And of course, the New York State Stock Car Association Hall of Fame induction ceremony earlier this afternoon. A very special night here at Utica Rome. Track safety lights are off. We get ready to go back to racing action. Ron DiUlio will pull the Utica Rome pace car down to the safe haven of the infield. The cars all gathered up 2 by 2 by 2, ready to go back to racing action again. 6 laps in. Chris Mackey, your leader. Matt Janzik, second. Jeremy Funk, third. Bobby Hines, fourth. Fifth is A.J. Philbeck. Green flag is back in the air. Mackey will take him off the top of turn number 2. One car around right in the middle of the speedway. Over here in turn number 2. That is the 42 of Craig Pope, who got turned around. He likes to off the field again, 6 laps in, getting ready to go back to green. Chris Mackey again will bring the field down into turn number 3 and 4. Green flag is in the air. We go back to racing action. Off turn number 2, Chris Mackey will take him down the backstretch. Out in front of Jeremy Funk. Funk trying to close that gap now as they swing into turn number 3 and 4. Good battle, pitch up for the 3rd spot. Jeremy Funk up out there chasing Matt Janzik. Bobby Henson is right there with him now as they work down into the front stretch. Bobby Hines in that number 180, looking at the top of the racetrack. He'll go up the hill over toward the inside. Matt Janzik takes the 33 down to the bottom of the racetrack. Looks for a race room underneath there, and didn't get down there, so he will have to wait another lap now as they work into turn number 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, they will go Chris Mackey, 2 car lengths over Jeremy Funk. There goes Matt Janzik. He'll get by Bobby Hines this time. The car on the move right now would be the number 84 of Claude Hutchings Jr. Hutchings started midway back through the field, and he has raced his way all the way up into the number 4 position, or number 5 position now as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Battle right in the front of the field. Jeremy Funk down to the bottom of the racetrack, side by side with Chris Mackey. They go to turn number 2, and Jeremy Funk takes the spot away. the backstretch. 3-car advantage now. Jeremy Funk out in front of Chris Mackey. Cross flags are out from Matt Burdick as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will go. Funk your leader, Mackey second, third belongs to Matt Jansen. Then it's Todd Hutchings here. There goes AJ Philback. He'll take the spot away from Matt Bobby Hines down into turn number 1 and 2. Oh, heavy contact over in turn number 2. Jack Miller is going to go around right in the middle of the speedway. Steve Way made contact on the back of the Jack Miller, number 37. Miller went around. They collect both of them over in turn number 2. 1, 4, 5. Funk your leader, Mackey second, Matt Janzik third, Claude Hutchings fourth, AJ Philback fifth, Bobby Hines holding on to the 6th spot. We go ready to go back to racing action. So back on lap number 10, I believe it was. Best lap time, 19.145, a track record for Jeremy Funk. Green flag is going to wait one more time just past the halfway point. Jeremy Funk takes it down into turn number 1 and 2. He'll take him up turn number 2. He'll dance down the backstretch. 3-car lengths, 4-car lengths out in front of Chris Mackey. Mackey trying to hold on to the 2nd spot. He's got a couple quick cars right behind him. Here comes Matt Janzik in the number 33 and the 84 of Claude Hutchins Jr. They're going to race side by side down the front stretch, battling for the number 3 position as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. AJ Philback right on the back of that battle. 5 cars trying to move to the field. Works off turn number 2 down the back stretch. They will go. Bobby Hines just outside the top 5 in that number 180 machine. He'll settle into the 6th spot with Heath Carney, Jim Nagel, and Randy Cantel on his bumper as they go down the front stretch towards turn number 1. Back to turn number 1 and 2, battle side by side to the number 2 spot. Matt Janzik down to the inside of the speedway. Chris Mackey to the high side. Side by side, they will battle. Janzik takes the advantage down into turn number 3 as they exit turn number 4. Funk the leader. Janzik now all the way to the number 2 spot. Side by side, here comes Claude Hutchins Jr. He'll go to the inside of Chris Mackey. The road race number 3 is Chris Mackey to the outside of the racetrack. Claude Hutchins Jr. drives underneath him. He'll take the spot away midway down the backstretch. And now AJ Philback looking to shuffle his way up into that number 4 spot as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will go, and AJ Philback will take the spot. So Jeremy Funk, your leader, Matt Janzik second, third right now belongs to Claude Hutchins Jr. in that number 84. He'll be followed by AJ Philback, Chris Mackey, Heath Carney, Bobby Hines as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. Jim Nagel, Randy Cantel, chasing him, followed by Mike Stiles, Rocky Warner, and Jeff Leslie. Your leaders are in turn number 1 and 2 now midway down the backstretch. 15 laps in, 5 more laps to go that last time by his Matt Burdick waiting the field. Here comes your leader. He's got a lot of lap traffic sitting right in front of him. Here comes Funk down the front stretch. Into turn number 1 and 2, 5 cars sitting in front of your leader. Funk changes lines over in turn number 1 and 2, has to go up the racetrack and drew higher than where he's been running. He gets by some of the slower traffic. That slows him down for just a second, but he keeps it wound up as he works his hard up the speedway. Into turn number 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, he will come. Matt Janzik trying to close that gap. Janzik down to the bottom of the racetrack. Now he goes out to the top. In turn number 1 and 2, Claude Hutchins Jr. trying to close the gap on Matt Janzik as your leaders have got spread out some of the lap traffic down the backstretch into turn number 3 and 4 this time. Chris Mackey losing a couple more positions, still slide back to the number 5 spot as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will come parallel 6 up, 2 more trips around the speedway. And right now, Jeremy Funk is just flashing his way through lap traffic. He's gone to the top of the racetrack. 8-car advantage now over Matt Janzik as they work off turn number 4. He'll slide underneath Jack Miller, putting him down a lap as they go to turn number 1 and 2. White flag is out. White flag waving as the field heads to turn number 1 and 2. Funk down the backstretch, half a straightaway away from victory. He'll take it on turn number 3 and 4. Matt Janzik chasing him, and Claude Hutchins Jr. They'll work in turn number 3 and 4. Jeremy Funk, the bottom of the racetrack, left it to the outside. Funk's going to be your winner. Matt Janzik will be second. Third belongs to Claude Hutchins Jr. AJ Philback holds on for the number 4 spot. He'll be followed by Chris Mackey, Heath Carney, Bobby Hines, Jim Nagel, Randy Cantel, and Mike Stiles rounding out the top 10. You want to talk about a tacky racetrack? This thing will take the shoes right off your feet right now if you're not careful. This place is going to be lightning fast tonight. Inside the car, he's got the helmet off, got the earplugs out, getting ready to climb out of the race car. Happy crew down here at Alfred, congratulations. Put your hands together. Your sportsman winner, here's Jeremy Vaughn. Jeremy getting congratulations from the crew down here, and a nice cold drink from Head. He's looking forward to that. Jeremy, congratulations. This is about a 2-hour race right here.
Yeah, that was a long time in the car, I guess, but that was worth the wait, I guess. The car was fast.
I got to ask you about this. You guys set the car up for the track earlier, then you get all this rain. I mean, what do? You just come out and throw the car at it?
Yeah, we didn't do a lot to it. Freed it up a tiny bit, but it was fast early, so I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah, it didn't take you long. A couple of laps, you started weaving your way through traffic, and once you got to the front, you were gone.
Yeah, I kind of took my, of course, it was only 6 laps in when we got stopped the first time, but I could pretty much go where I needed to, and it was good.
People you need to thank, Jeremy?
Yeah, the car owner, Jeff Corbin, all the guys that help on the car, Corey, Mark, Darren, Jr., American Roofing, Williams Tire and Auto, Hickling's Fish Farm, Ribbing Incorporated, Teller Septic, and Lewis Brothers Construction.
All right, well, congratulations, and welcome back to Victory Lane. Jeremy Monk is going to be your Sportsman Feature winner here tonight at Utica Rome. So track safety lights are off. Modified feature action ready to go. They work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Shannon Whaley was your pole sitter. He'll drop back. Now they work off turn number 1 and 2 down the front stretch. Casey Williams is going to charge out to the front of the field. He'll bring down the front stretch. Down to turn number 1 and 2. From right track. He's got Rocket Ryan himself. His wheels out of turn number 4. Down the backstretch. They will go into turn number 3. Off turn number 4, down the front stretch, that battle is right at the front of the field. Jimmy Davis now trying to hold on to number 4 spot. He's got company as they swing into turn. Bonnie Johnson, RJ goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll look underneath Jimmy Davis midway down the back stretch. And RJ, Bonnie Johnson will take the spot away as they head towards turn number 3 and 4. Off the turn, and they will battle down into turn number 1 and 2. Williams continuing to throw the way, but he's got company in front of the field. And caution is out on the speedway. Yellow flag is coming out onto the racetrack. Action. Down to the turn number 3 and 4, Casey Williams brings the field in. He'll pound the throttle just as he hits that cone over at turn number 3. Green flag back in the air. Here we go at it one more time. Williams down to the bottom of the racetrack, turn number 2. Jason Rude's going to slingshot right around him on the outside. Rude's going to take the lead away as they charge down the backstretch. Down into turn number 3 and 4, and just like that, the Rude Awakening, Jason Rude is driven up to the front of the field. Now here comes Ronnie Johnson. RJ down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll work inside Casey Williams over in turn number 1 and 2. He'll take the spot as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will go. Here comes the 99 of Larry White. White down to the bottom of the speedway. He will work underneath the 1X of Casey Williams. They work off turn number 4. Side by side, that battle will continue. Williams to the top side. White takes Larry White to the bottom. RJ holding on to the number 2 spot. We got a 3-wide battle now for the number 2 position as they work off turn number 2. And it'll be Ronnie Johnson. RJ holding on to the spot into turn number 3 and 4. One car slow down the front stretch. That is Todd Thomas, number 60. He will head back towards the pit area. Down into turn number 1 and 2. Jason Room, 8 car advantage now over Ronnie Johnson. Johnson up the hill just a little bit. He's trying to square it off turn number 2. He's got Lightning Larry White down to the inside of the speedway. Side by side, they'll battle for the number 2 position. Over in turn number 4. Lightning Larry White just drove up the racetrack. Side by side with Ronnie Johnson. Good one to the top side. Down to turn number 3 and 4. White goes up the hill. RJ squares it off. He'll turn down behind him. He'll chase Larry White down the backstretch. 8 car lengths, now 10 car lengths back from them would be the Stuart Friesen. Excuse me, coming up through would be Jimmy Davis in that 1D. Ryan Phelps will be right there with him as they come charging down the front stretch. Casey Williams trying to hold on to the number 4 spot. He's got company right now. He'll work off turn number 2 down the back. Jimmy Davis right there with him as they head towards turn number 3 and 4. Ryan Phelps also chasing that battle as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch they will come. Battle for number 4 position. Casey Williams continuing to hold on to it with Jimmy Davis working underneath him. Davis may take the spot away this time as he worked down the back stretch. So Davis up to 4th. 5th would be Casey Williams in 6th spot. Is number 99. Oh, the Ryan Phelps as they work off turn number 4. Phelps has got company down to the bottom of the speedway. There goes number 9S. Super Matt Shepard. He'll go down to the bottom of the hill. Turn number 2. He'll turn his left hard off turn number 2. But Ryan Phelps battles him off there side by side down into turn number 3 and 4. Battle for the number 6 spot. Ryan Phelps holding on to it. Matt Shepard underneath him as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, that battle will continue. Back in distance behind them, the Tornado. Todd Burley just went by the outside of the Pat Ward, the 42P. Burley trying to hold that spot. Right now he is battling with Ward. That is 8 to 9 on the field as they charge down the back. Mike Mahaney right behind them. And we have a new leader out in front of the field. Lightning Larry White just took the spot away from Jason Root, and he drives away from him off turn number 2 immediately. Lightning Larry White gets about an 8-car advantage out in front of Jason Root as they work off turn number 4 down the front stretch. Larry White's got a field in front of him right now. He's driving up to the tail of the field. He's going to be very careful as he works off turn number 2. Lap cars coming into play in about half a lap. Jason Root knows that that's going to happen, so he's trying to close that gap before they get into turn number 4. Ronnie Johnson chases him again. Ronnie Johnson, a good battle side by side. Off turn number 4, out in front of Jimmy Davis. He'll hold on to the number 3 spot as they come to the line. Jimmy Davis squares it off to the inside. Off turn number 2, that battle will continue. There's the battle up for the number 4 spot or 5 spot right now as Ryan Phelps works inside. There's Jimmy Davis now going to work on Ronnie Johnson. Down the front stretch, they will battle. He'll take the spot away down into turn number 1 and 2. Jimmy Davis trying to take it away, but RJ Ronnie Johnson powers back on the outside. Down the back stretch, they will go. RJ squares it off, comes down to the bottom, he'll closes the door on the number 18 KD of Jimmy Davis. Davis is back in line, and he'll buy the time behind RJ as they go into turn number 1 and 2. Ryan Phelps, Casey Williams 1X, Matt Shepard right there alongside as they work off turn number 2, go charging down the backstretch. Matt Shepard to the inside of the speedway. Casey Williams comes to the outside as Ryan Phelps now distances himself out in front of these guys as they work down into turn number 1 and 2. Contact as they went into the turn. Jimmy Davis got into the side of Ronnie Johnson. Johnson not liking that. Was looking right at the back bumper. Jimmy Davis very quickly pulls away as we head down to the turn number 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, this battle will continue. Jimmy Davis down the inside. Ronnie Johnson following him. That is the battle for 3rd and 4th as they work off turn number 2. Meanwhile, Larry White continues to distance himself out in front of the field. White comes by the start-finish line. That time he's running 18.608. 18.608 his best lap around the speedway. And Larry White continues to show the way. 2.87 seconds out in front of Jason Rood as they go into turn numbers 3 and 4. Larry White down to the bottom. Now he'll shift up to the top of the racetrack. Chris Musa was right in front of him. Musa almost lost the handle. Larry White had to be very careful as he went sliding by. So White works in the middle of turn number 3 and 4. He will come straightening back to the line, putting lap number 21 in the book. Jason Root still chasing him, holding on that number 2 spot. Now the 18J running 2nd and 3rd. They work off turn number 2 down the back. Jimmy Davis continuing to try to close that gap. He's 5.2 seconds off the leader, but beginning to close up on teammate Jason Root as they work through turn number 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, that battle will continue. Ronnie Johnson, Ryan Phelps, Matt Shepard, Todd Burley, Casey Williams, Mike Mahaney, and caution is out on the speedway. Got a car around over in turn number 4. That is going to be the reason for the caution. War 10, Stuart Freeze in 11th, Danny Varon 12th, 13th is Bobby Varon, Alan Johnson 14th, 15th is Shannon Whaley. Green flag comes out once again from Matt Burdick and Continental down on the office. They come charging down the front. Larry White again, jumping out to that early. He'll take the ball, turn number 1 and 2. A couple of 18 side by side off turn number 2 down the back. Jason Root to the outside. Jimmy Davis to the inside. Davis side down to the bottom of the racetrack. Root's right there. This time when they go to turn number 3 and 4, Root's going to be right in the same fire traction. This time Ronnie Johnson just throws by the outside of Jimmy Davis. In that number 2, and he's amazing to see. He threads the needle. Ronnie Johnson all the way up to the number 2 spot. Ronnie Johnson just drove right through the middle of Jimmy Davis and the number 18 of Jason Root to take over the number 2 spot. And now Ronnie Johnson sets his sight on the number 99 now of Larry White. They work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Ronnie Johnson second, third place right now side by side is Jimmy Davis and the number 18 of Jason Root. Side by side, that battle will be taken as they come down the front stretch. Jason Root is going to take that first spot back. Jimmy Davis back and forth, flying himself holding on the 5th spot. And they like to turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will dance just outside of Brian Thumb. Here comes Matt Shepard. Shepard, Nathan Lane comes down to the bottom of the speedway. Turn number 4. They work off turn number 4 down the front stretch. They will charge. Matt Shepard down to the bottom of the racetrack. Now switching lanes. Here goes to turn number 1 and 2. He'll shuffle by Jimmy Davis. Davis shuffles back 1 spot. Here comes Mike Mahady to number 4. Mahady now looking right at the back of the number 18 of Jimmy Davis. He's side by side with Casey Williams. They work off turn number 4 down the front. There's contact. Williams and Casey and Jimmy Davis. Back up front. You'll see down the back. There's 99 of Larry White. That's his sight on the second flag. It's just a couple laps away. If they work off turn number 4, White's going to see the parallel sticks out in front of him. He'll come charging down the front stretch. RJKCM. That is Wilson. The number 18. The 99 of Ryan Phelps. Matt Shepard right there holding on to the 5 spot. They get turn number 2. 3 wide battle for the 6th spot. Down the back stretch. Jimmy Davis holding on to it. In front of Casey Williams. Williams comes down the hill. White flag gets out. Last trip around the speedway as they work off turn number 4. Casey Williams keeps getting battle off White for Todd Burrows right there with him. Followed by number 1. So we have 2 cars together. Over in turn number 2. Caution flag is going to come out. So after all this, it comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. 1 lap sprint to the finish here. Matt Burdick ready to turn the ponies loose over in turn number 3 and 4. 1 last go around here for the modified. They'll work off turn number 4. Green and white flags are in the air. Here we go one more time. Larry White gets a great start. He'll drive down into turn number 1 and 2. RJ's going to be right there with him. 2 cars off, and yellow flag is out on the speedway. Caution is out. We got a car right at the top of turn number. Got one of the best in the business on his back door as they get ready to go back to green. Track safety lights are off. Ron DiUlio pulls the pace car down to the infield. Again, Matt Burdick will unfurl green and white flags. Here it comes down to who gets the best restart. Larry White takes him to the cone, pounds the throttle, snares it down to the left. He'll bring him off the bottom of the turn. Here comes RJ Ronnie Johnson. Down to number 1 and 2. White right in the middle of the speedway. Now tries down the hill off turn number 2. Larry White, 4-car advantage down the backstretch. The young man looking for that first modified win at Unicron. He'll bring him off turn number 4. Charging down the front stretch. Lightning, Larry White's going to score the win. RJ will be second, third is Jason Root, fourth Brian Thumb. Fifth belongs to Matt Shepard. Sixth, Todd Burley. 8th, William 7th, Stuart Friesen. 8th, 9th is Jason Root. 10th is Danny Varon.
the car quicker than I could get down to victory lane. For the first time, a modified feature winner here at Utica Rome, Lightning Larry White. Congratulations. Thank you. That was a wild ride. Now, this is kind of funny, a little story. Years ago when I was announcing up north, Larry got his start in the go-karts up there, and I announced his first go-kart victory, and I get your first modified win here at Utica Rome. I got to thank Mike for not being here tonight. Yeah, it works out pretty good. Well, this car was fast. It only took you a couple laps to get this thing wound up. Yeah, we were able to see what the track was going to do, and we saw the same thing happen about 2 or 3 years ago with Billy Decker, and we kind of just went back to the notebooks and figured out what we did wrong and what they did right. And a heavy track like this, I mean, you guys were able to stick it right out there. You probably weren't lifting the throttle too much, were you? No, just enough to set the car. People you want to thank, Larry? I thank my mom, my dad, Rob Heil, Jacob Petrovich, Jeff, who couldn't come tonight, everyone that's helped on this car, Gypsum Express, Bicknell Racing Products, Stadium International, Tracy, Napa Auto Parts. All right, big win here tonight. Finally got that first one at Utica Rome. Yeah, we got the monkey off our back. All right, congratulations. Lightning Larry White, your modified feature winner here tonight at Utica Rome.
After in the number 17E, and to the outside, driving the number 21, it's Billy Knapp. Glenn Forward's number 7C, and Mike Stefanski's number 2 make up row number 6. Row number 7. Andy LaSure in the number 22 will sit on the inside. Outside him will be Dan LaSure in the number 24. Corey Locke's number 55 will be inside row number 9. On the outside, it'll be the 7N of Jim Normoyle. And our final row has Gus Holner in the number 715 and Tommy Denton in the number 24. And rounding out the field will be Brett Tardy in the number 27Z. For the win. Off turn number 4, green flag is in the air. Very quickly they'll race down into turn number 1 and 2. Off turn number 2, they're going to be 3 wide front of the field, right down the middle of Broadway. They go down the backstretch into turn number 3 and 4. It's shot out of a cannon. Is Brett Belden as he'll work his way up towards the front of the field and bring him off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will go with Brett Belden out to the front of the field. Dementa out to the second spot as he'll go up the hill in turn number 1 and 2. He's got the 11X of Jim Money working inside him. Money trying to hold on to the 3 spot as they work off turn number 2. He's got company midway down the backstretch as Jeff Pastorella now looks right at the back bumper as they swing into turn number 3 and 4 with Billy Knapp number 21 to the outside. They'll work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch they will go. Just beat Money right in the middle of the pack, wags the tail on that one, as now Chris a 3 wide battle for the number 5 spot as they work off turn number 2. They continue to run 3 wide, off 2 down the backstretch. Mike Stefanski to the outside of the racetrack, down into turn number 3 and 4. In the 2, he'll go, or Pete Stefanski to the outside as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Off turn number 4, they come down in front. Here goes number 21 of Billy Knapp down the inside of the racetrack. Billy Knapp trying to take over the number 2 spot. He's got company. Jeff Pastorella to the inside. Chris Carr chasing him as they work off turn number 2 midway down the back. Pete Stefanski continues to try to run the high groove on the outside, just outside the top 5. They work into turn number 4. Down the front stretch. All that racing side by side behind him. And Brett Belden able to open up a sizable advantage in that number 81. They work off turn number 2 down the back stretch. They will go now. Billy Knapp number 21 will find his way up into the number 2 spot as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. It'll be Brett Belden brings him off turn number 4. Billy Knapp all the way up to the number 2 spot as they work off turn number 4 down the front stretch. Chasing him, Jeff Pastorella. Pete Stefanski right on his back bumper as they go to turn number 3 and 4. Here comes Tommy Denton. Starts to work his way towards the front of the field. He'll come down to the bottom of the racetrack on turn number 2. Down the backstretch, they will go. Tommy Denton started deep in the field, and he's all the way up to the number 5 spot. They continue to battle off the west end of the speedway. Down the front stretch, they will go. Denton all the way up to the number 4 spot. Now he works inside Pete Stefanski, battling side by side for the 3rd position as they head into turn number 2. Jeff Pastorella settling back 1 spot from that battle. Chris Carr works outside him. He'll take the spot away as they head down into turn number 3. Chris Carr all the way up into the number 5 spot, followed by the number 11 of Jim Money. Down the front stretch it is number 81, Brett Belden. Billy Knapp 2nd. 3rd right now is Pete Stefanski. 4th is Tommy Denton. The 5th spot belongs to Chris Carr. 6th position right now is a battle between Jeff Pastorella and Jim Money in the number 11. And here comes the number 7 seed 7N of Jimmy Normoyle, as he will add his name to that battle just outside the top 5 as they work off turn number 4, charging down the front stretch. Jimmy Normoyle looking right at the back of the number 25 of Jeff Pastorello. They continue to run that top group. Almost got into the quarter panel. Jimmy Normoyle, nice job of letting Pastorello go without taking him around. As they work off turn number 2, they continue to run nose to tail to turn number 3 and 4 with Jim Money right at the bottom of the racetrack. Money trying to hold his spot, but right now, Pastorella's going to get a push around the outside of Sean Frost as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. This time, Normoyle turns it down to the inside. He'll take that spot as they exit turn number 2. Cross flags will be coming out from Matt Burdick as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will charge. We are halfway home, and Brett Belden, who took command on lap number 1, continues to show the way down into turn number 1 and 2. Pete Stefanski has raced his way all the way up into the number 2 spot. Off turn number 2 down the backstretch, they will head. He's out in front of Billy Knapp, holding on to the number 2 spot. Knapp back to 3rd. Right now is 4th. Tommy Denton, your points leader, coming into tonight, holding on to that 4th spot as they swing off turn number 4 down the front stretch. Chris Carr, a car length back now from Tommy Denton's rear bumper as they work off turn number 2. Jimmy Normoyle, the next car in line as they exit turn. Jeff Pastorello continues that battle with Sean Frost back there. In number 15 as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Your leader now looking at the back of some flat traffic, just about a straightaway out in front of him. Brett Belden continuing to show the way in that number 81. 8-car advantage over Pete Stefanski. Stefanski, though, continuing to eat away at Brett Belden's lead. That gap is getting smaller and smaller as they work around here with 12 laps in scoring. Lap number 13 this time at the line. They work off turn number 4. Brett Belden can see lap traffic in front of him. The passing flag being shown to these drivers, but of course they're going to stay right in their lines now as they exit turn number 2. One car up the hill. Opening the door to the inside, Brett Belden trying to be careful. About 6 car lengths now separating Brett Belden from Pete Stefanski. Stefanski just drove up to the back bumper as Brett Belden got hung up behind some lap traffic. Stefanski closed to within a couple of car lengths. Down into turn number 1 and 2. Stefanski down to the bottom of the racetrack. Belden to the outside. Side by side, we got a battle out at the front of the field. They work off turn number 2. Down into turn number 3 and 4. Belden trying to be careful, but Stefanski's going to be right there with him. They work into turn number 4. Belden right in the middle of the racetrack now lets it drift all the way to the top side. He can see down to the inside. He can hear Pete Stefanski right there with him as they swing into turn number 1 and 2. Stefanski down to the bottom. Brett Belden able to drive off the bottom there, the top of the turn, down the backstretch, but lap car sitting right in front of him, and Belden is going to get pinned behind. Stefanski drove up underneath the Belden right back to the whip nose. They work off turn number 4. They'll come charging down the front stretch. Stefanski may have the nose out in front this time, and he will be your leader at the stripe. So Pete Stefanski down to the bottom. Brett Belden up the hill. Now he'll drive back by to the outside. Tommy Denton all the way up to the number 3 spot. With the number 21 of Billy Knapp. 4th, 5th right now is Chris Carr. Carr goes to the outside of Billy Knapp, and they continue to run side by side. Jim Normoyle's number 7 and looking at the back of that battle as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, that battle will continue. Down into turn number 1 and 2 with the 27Z of Brett Hardy now right in the mix of that battle as they work into turn number 3 and 4. This time around out of turn number 4, they will come charging back to the stripe. Matt Burdick ready to put up 2 more laps to go. He'll put the parallel sticks up. Pete Stefanski charging down the front stretch. He will take the lead away from Brett Belden. He'll go up the hill over in turn number 1 and 2. Belden trying to close that gap back up, but Stefanski opens up a 4-car lead down the backstretch. Tommy Denton continues to hold the number 3 spot as they swing into turn number 3 and 4. He's down to the bottom of the racetrack. Billy Knapp chasing him. Jim Normoyle side by side. Tommy Denton right there as they come charging down the front stretch. White flag is out to one more trip around the speedway. Stefanski with a couple of lap cars in front of him, being very careful to get down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll drive off turn number 2. Down the back he will go as they head into turn number 3 and 4. 8 car lengths out in front of Brett Belden. Checkered flag will wave this time as they exit the west end of the speedway. Pete Stefanski will drive off the turn. He's going to score the win in your Pro Stock feature here tonight. Brett Belden will be second. Third belongs to Tommy Denton, number 94. The 4th spot belongs to Billy Knapp, number 21. Chris Carr will finish in the now as he's getting ready to climb out on the backside. Put your hands together. Your Pro Stock feature winner, Pete Stefanski. So Pete, getting congratulations from the family back here as he makes his way around. Pete,
after lap, I mean, I almost was flat-footing that. I mean, that was unbelievable. That was fast.
You started quite a ways back, and you would work your way up through some of that traffic. Looked like the car would drive anywhere you wanted to go.
Yeah, it was really good. We made like 3 changes before we came out. You know, we were really worried about being too tight, and I actually was a little bit loose. But the more I drove it, the better the car was. So I just burped it and kept it to the floor to get it going.
People you want to thank, Pete?
Oh yeah, I got to thank my wife who's here tonight, my buddy Showtime, my graphics guy, his girlfriend, my mom and dad at home, my brother Rob and Jim who couldn't make it tonight, and all my sponsors.
Congratulations. Nice win here tonight. Pete Stefanski inside row number 4. Outside him, Mike Kozlowski's in the number 75. Scott Wheelock's number 84 will sit inside row number 5 with the number 1J of Tim Janzik to the outside. Ron Hawker's number 14 and the number 54 of Scott Springer make up row number 6. Row number 7, Dave Bruno's number 21 and the 22G of Russ Marsden. Brian Owens, number 71, will be inside row number 8. Outside him will be Keith Stevenson in the number 4. Brandon Green, 00, and Mark Shanowski's number 36 make up row number 10. Row number 11 will be the Junkyard Jet, Jimmy Thomas, and Yule Cook in the number 62D, and the 90 of Nate Peckham will round out the field. Green flag is in the air from Matt Burdick. Our final feature of the night is on the speedway. Side-by-side off turn number 2, they will down the backstretch. Sevchek side-by-side with Hyatt. Hyatt takes over the lead. He'll take him down into turn number 3 and 4 for the very first time. 15 laps will be the distance as they work off turn number 4. They will come charging down the front stretch. It'll be Frank Hyatt out in front of the field. Andy Sevchek now running side-by-side with Bill Mason for the number 2 spot. Mason down to the bottom of the racetrack. Sevchek all the way up to the top side. They've got company now. There's a 29K of Chris Cunningham. Will add his name to the mix. He'll go to the inside of Sevchek down into turn number 3 and 4. Chris Cunningham comes down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll swing down to the inside as they work off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, they will go, and the yellow flag is out on the speedway. Got a car stopped over at the top of turn number 2. Back down to turn number 3 and 4. 2 laps in the book. Green flag will wave once again. Down to turn number 1 and 2, they will go. Bill Mason down to the bottom of the racetrack. Frank Hyatt to the outside. Chris Cunningham's going to be right there with him. Stack them up almost 3 wide at the front of the field, but Cunningham thought better of that. He backed off, let these guys go for just a second as they swing down into turn number 3 and 4. Hyatt to the outside, Mason to the bottom as they work off turn number 4, come charging down the front stretch. Stacked up behind them, here comes number 90 of Nate Peckham, along with Chris Cunningham's number 29K as they work down into turn number 1 and 2. Cunningham all the way to the top side of the racetrack. Andy Sevchek looking at his back bumper as they work off turn number 2 down the back. They will go. Here comes Ron Hawker. Hawker just driving through the field in the red number 14. And then we got one car going around. That is Nate Peckham in the number 90, and he's going to collect a few cars over there in turn number 4. Rob Thieme involved in that caution. Rob Thieme's number 255, along with Nate Peckham in the number 90, the 11. Action one more time. Over at turn number 3 and 4, Matt Burdick puts that green flag up in the air. We go back to racing action. Here we go one more time. Bill Mason out to the front of the field. Chris Cunningham now looks to the inside of the number 97 of Andy Sevchek. He's going to go by on the outside. Sevchek goes to the top side of Bill Mason as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Andy Sevchek out to the front of the field. Bill Mason tries right back up to the inside though. Frank Hyatt lost one spot on that restart. Now he'll battle to the outside of the speedway as they work off turn number 4, come charging down to the front. It'll be Frank Hyatt holding on to number 3 spot as they go down into turn number 2. Chris Cunningham all to the outside of the speedway. Here goes Russ Marsden down the middle in the 22. He'll try to take the spot away as they head down into turn number 3 and 4. He'll work outside of the Mike Kozlowski's number 75 as they work through turn number 4 down the front stretch. Mason continuing to show the way. Sevchek and Hyatt nose and tail down into turn number 1 and 2. Chris Cunningham continues to run that bottom groove around the racetrack. Russ Marsden now going a groove higher over in turn number 2. Stack him up 3 wide midway down the backstretch. Ron Hawker to the inside of the number 22 of Russ Marsden. He'll look down to the bottom. Marsden continues to hold him off as they work off turn number 4 of the stack. 3 wide battle for the number 3 spot. Now it's a 3 wide battle for the 2 position down into turn number 1 and 2. Bill Mason out in front, missing the great racing going on behind him. There's 6 cars battling for the number 2 spot to the outside. There goes Frank Hyatt to the high side of the speedway. Hyatt will go outside of the number 57 of Bill Mason. Mason works off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Down in front they will come, and Frank Hyatt showing his way out in the front of the field. Hyatt is your leader. Bill Mason second. Here comes the 22 of Russ Marsden. Marsden to the outside of the speedway. Chris Cunningham down to the bottom as they work off turn number 2 down the backstretch. That battle will continue. They work into turn number 3, and Nate Peckham involved in that caution on lap number 3. 4 laps later, here comes Nate Peckham down the front stretch. He'll go to the inside of the Russ Marsden number 22. Marsden all the way out to the top side of the speedway. Now squares it off, comes down the hill. He'll look in between Nate Peckham and Bill Mason as they work off turn number 2. Take Peckham in the number 90, Mason the 57, side by side behind Frank Hyatt. Now we've got them stacked up front of the field. 3 wide off turn number 4. Down the front stretch they will go. Frank Hyatt is missing one of the best races of his career. It's all going on behind him, and he's not has no problem with that right now as he works off turn number 2. Down the backstretch he will go. Down to the inside of the speedway, Nate Peckham all the way back up to where he was a few laps ago before the caution came out. He is battling for the lead off turn number 4. Peckham down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll go side by side with Hyatt. Out in front of the field, Bill Mason watching that battle unfold in front of him. Here comes the number 14 of Ron Hawker. Hawker all the way up into the number 3 spot. Caution is out on the speedway. Hawker just made his way up in the number 4 spot. Yellow flag will wave. Couple of cars slow over here in turn number 4. Track safety lights are off. We go into turn number 3 and 4. The green flag will wave one more time. Frank Hyatt will bring the field off the west end of the speedway. Nate Peckham right on his back bumper. Down into turn number 1 and 2. Bill Mason goes down to the bottom of the racetrack trying to hold on to the number 2 spot. Rob Theme works underneath him. Mason opens the door. Theme underneath him. Ron Hawker to the outside. 3 wide battle for the number 2 spot. Back up front, side by side at the front of the field. Nate Peckham to the bottom. Frank Hyatt to the outside. Off turn number 4 they will go. Hyatt gets a run to the outside. He'll hold on to that lead position as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. Hyatt about a half a groove higher than where Nate Peckham's been running. Peckham gets a good run off turn number 2, but Hyatt seems to get off 3 and 4 a little bit quicker as Ron Hawker now takes over the number 3 spot. Bill Mason settling back to 4th. Rob Theme outside him. They'll be side-by-side battle for the number 4 position as they work off the west end of the speedway. Then it's the 22 of Russ Marsden, followed by the 29 of Chris Cunningham. Bill Norman's number 9 in the mix. He'll hold on to the next spot as they work into turn number 3 and 4. Down the backstretch, that battle will continue out in front of the field. And right now, it looks like the number 90 of Nate Peckham may have taken the spot away. He'll drive out in front of Frank Hyatt. He'll take the position down to turn number 1 and 2. Yellow flag is out on the speedway once again. One car slow to the outside of turn number 4, and that is Russ Marsden, who was charging his way through the field first time back here in a while. And Marsden is going to bring out the caution on lap number 13. Down to the safe haven in the infield. Nate Peckham took over the lead just a lap ago, trying to hold off Frank Hyatt, Ron Hawker, Rob Theme, Bill Mason, and Chris Cunningham as we go back to green flag racing action. Off turn number 4, green flag is back in the air. Peckham down into turn number 1 and 2. Hyatt goes up the hill in turn number 2. Ron Hawker trying to hold on to the third spot. He's got company as Rob Theme looks inside of him. Chris Cunningham now doing battle with Bill Mason. and yellow flag is going to come back on the speedway. He's got a car around over in the turn number 2. That is Ricky Breed in into turn number 3 and 4. Frank Hyatt right on that back bumper of Nate Peckham. Peckham jumps on the throttle. He'll bring him off turn number 4 down the front stretch. Frank Hyatt goes up the hill, wags the tail big on the number 14. Ron Hawker looked right to the inside, thought Hawker was going to take the spot away. Now Hawker's got company. Rob Themey goes down to the inside. They work out turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will battle. Chris Cunningham will be right there with them as they swing into number 3 and 4. Off turn number 4, charging down the front stretch. Checkered flag in the air. It'll be Nate Peckham scoring to win. Frank Hyatt comes home second. Third is Ron Hawker. Rob Themey fourth. Fifth belongs to Chris Cunningham. He'll be followed by Phil Norman in the number 9 machine. And Utica Rome. Nate, congratulations on the backside. Nate, you had to win that race twice. You had to come to the front 2 times.
Oh, this car was awesome tonight. Other than the hole in one there, well, this thing just stuck. They're just glued to the track.
Early on in that race, you got twisted around. You were almost at the front of the field, turned the car down kind of hard, trying to avoid contact with somebody else.
Well, yeah, I went to turn 3 there, and I turned too soon and it stuck. And as soon as I got down, I got in that slop and trying to catch it, and around I went. It was my fault, but it happens, I guess.
Well, you got all the way back to the front. People you want to thank, Nate?
Bart and Don, we just came from the Glen earlier today. That's why we were late. My mother just let me use her garage, and that's the only way we could do it. And Industrial Services of Rochester, they helped me quite a bit. Auto Value of Senegal Falls, they helped me with the parts.
All right, well, congratulations. Nice run here tonight. Nate Peckham is going to be your Pure Stock feature winner.